Okay, so we're diving into Psalm 58 today.
Right.
From the New Living Translation.
Okay.
And it's one that's attributed to David.
Yeah.
And it's got this really kind of interesting little instructions at the beginning to be sung to the tune, "Do Not Destroy."
That's right. Yeah.
So,
Very interesting title.
yeah. So I guess what we're going to be trying to do today is figure out, like, what is the message of this song?
Yeah.
And also, like, it's really striking the imagery that it uses
Absolutely.
to describe the wicked.
Right away, you just encounter this like really strong language.
Yeah.
Like a real call for justice, and then these very vivid metaphors describing, the wicked people that the psalmist is talking about.
Yeah, and it starts right out of the gate in verse 1 with these questions.
Yes.
Directed at, it says rulers, but the footnote says it could also mean gods.
Yeah.
And the question is, do you really know what justice means? Do you judge people fairly?
Right.
Like, it's not messing around.
No, it's not.
Right off the bat.
Straight to the point.
So what do you think about that? Like, why start with that? What does it tell us about the whole psalm? And, like, also for anybody listening, like, what does it mean to really know what justice means? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, well, I think it's fascinating that it starts by questioning those in power.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't assume that they understand justice.
Right.
It directly, challenges their comprehension and actions.
Yeah.
And I think that really sets the stage for the entire psalm, because what we're going to see is this conflict between
Right.
the ideal of justice
Yeah.
and the reality that the psalmist is experiencing.
Yeah, and then you get to verse 2, and it's like, bam!
Yes.
No! You plot injustice in your hearts. You spread violence throughout the land.
It's very direct.
Yeah. There's no, like, oh, maybe,
No, there's no ambiguity there.
No.
It's like, you are doing this.
Yeah, you're guilty.
I see it.
Yeah. So
It moves from questioning their understanding to like a flat-out accusation of their inner thoughts and their outward deeds.
wow.
Which really emphasizes, the depth of the psalmist's frustration and anger.
Yeah, and then we get this statement in verse 3. These wicked people are born sinners. Even from birth, they have lied and gone their own way.
Yeah.
So, like, what is that saying? Like, is he saying that people are just born bad? Like, what's going on there?
That's a really strong statement for sure.
Yeah.
I think within the context of this psalm, what it's emphasizing is just this idea that these individuals were fundamentally inclined towards wickedness, like from the very beginning of their lives.
Okay.
That's how the psalmist sees them as inherently bad.
All right. And then verses 4 and 5 just explode with this crazy snake imagery.
Yes.
They are full of venom like poisonous snakes. They were like cobras that refuse to listen, ignoring the tunes of the snake charmers no matter how skillfully they play.
Wow, what a picture.
Yeah, so like why snakes? I mean, obviously snakes are dangerous.
Yeah.
Poisonous.
Yeah.
But is there something more going on there, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's not just saying that they're harmful.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's specifically comparing them to cobras who are deaf,
You're right.
even to
Right.
the skilled snake charmers.
Yeah.
Right. So no matter how persuasive you are, no matter how much you try and reason with them,
Right.
they're not going to listen.
It's not going to work.
They are fundamentally opposed.
Yeah. So it's like a deep-seated
Yes.
stubbornness.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. And then we get to verses 6 through 9, and it's just like this series of really intense,
Yeah.
like, calls for God to intervene and, like, just destroy these people, like, break their fangs, smash their jaws, make them disappear like water into dry ground,
Vanish.
dissolve, like snails be swept away by storm.
Yeah. There's so many images in there.
It's
And
intense.
a lot of imagery.
Yeah. So what do we make of that? Like, why is he...
Well, I think what we see here is this deep desire for justice to be enacted. Right. And the imagery is so graphic.
Right.
Because it's emphasizing just how dangerous the psalmist sees these wicked people.
Yeah.
And how urgent the need is to neutralize their power.
Yeah.
It's like a desperate cry for change.
Okay. And then in verse 10, we get this really, kind of disturbing image.
Yeah.
The godly will rejoice when they see injustice avenged. They will wash their feet in the blood of the wicked.
That's pretty intense.
It's pretty graphic.
Yeah.
So how do we square that with, all the other stuff we've been talking about? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a powerful image
Uh-huh.
and potentially disturbing to some people for sure.
Yeah.
But I think considering the intensity of the emotions that we've seen throughout the whole psalm,
Right.
it really highlights the idea of the complete triumph of justice
Yeah.
in the psalmist's view.
Yeah.
Like, this is it.
This is the end.
This is the complete and utter defeat of evil.
Right.
And it's expressed in this very forceful, if graphic, way.
Yeah. Okay. And then finally, verse 11, we get this concluding statement. Then at last, everyone will say, there truly is a reward for those who live for God. Surely there is a God who judges justly here on earth.
Right.
This is like the takeaway.
Like,
right?
this is the message.
It all builds towards this final verse of reassurance.
Okay.
And the central message of the psalm is that the psalmist believes that ultimately righteousness is rewarded and injustice is judged.
Okay.
And that is the hope that drives this entire impassioned plea.
So I guess to kind of like sum up what we've seen today, this psalm, it's a powerful cry for justice.
Yeah.
It's a very stark condemnation of the wicked, using really vivid and sometimes even kind of violent imagery.
Yeah, a lot of strong imagery in there.
And ultimately, though, it affirms this idea that God is just and that he will judge.
There is hope that things will be made right. So I guess the question for you listening is, thinking about all this raw emotion and this stark imagery, what does it tell us about, like, the human desire for justice?
The longing.
Yeah, and accountability.
Yeah.
Even in the face of, like, overwhelming wickedness.
Really makes you think.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Thanks.
All right, see ya.
See ya.